the one is like, I'd love to try to get, you know, people who, you know, I go and speak in front of. How can I get to a model where, you know, I start like converting them into subscribers, and by like specifically like Patreon subscribers, like a Bandcamp subscriber. And I guess like, you know, I just did like a 7th grade school, and I think I got like 60 Instagram followers, and like they're all like, you know, mad listening to Spotify and everything right now. So I want to start like targeting 7th grade schools. I want to try to get as many like, you know, speaking gigs in year 7. But I guess I hesitate to just launch a Patreon or a Bandcamp because I feel like I haven't. I don't know. Like, is it possible to like jump into that too early before you like really provide a service for free? You know, like I guess like I haven't jumped into Bandcamp or Patreon because I feel like I first need to give more for free and like really gain like a following, you know, of like people who just love me. Like, wow, he's giving so much. You know, that whole Gary Vee give. You know, and then start asking. And so I guess figuring out when you're in that place where you can start asking. And then secondly, the second thing is, just that, you know, I've been, you know, on those Fan Love Fridays and stuff. And like, there is a huge quality jump that I need to do in my music. But I'm at a place now where I've already started, the train's rolling. There's maybe 300, 400 people waiting for music. Like, I can't leave them high and dry in 2019. I need to put out music. I need to put out either like a spoken word social media series or like, you know, an album. So I guess how do you juggle with that of just like, I know I'm not where I need to be, but I still need to put out content anyways?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I would say one, Superphone, I think, is going to be better for you than Patreon. Initially. This is the same conversations I'm having with Zoe behind the scenes, right? Like, we're trying to kind of plan out his thing. And so I'm like, man, build a Superphone contact list, right? And it may initially be 50 people, 100 people. Build that up and then launch into some type of Patreon or just maybe some merch. Like, build your Superphone, then launch into some merch. The tough part is, if your demographic is 7th graders, they're not Patreons or Superphone subscribers. That's the hard part, man. And so, like, they may just be folks you know, subscribe to you on Instagram and get your Instagram clout up. That's a tough demographic. I don't know a whole lot about that younger demographic, right?
Yeah. I guess it just make me feel good on social media. Maybe that's not my demographic. Young adults love the music and they listen to it more, but year 7s just get that clout feeling going, you know?
Yeah. No, I don't, and that's dope. Like, that's dope that you can speak to a different audience. Like, I've been asked to come and speak at middle schools and perform in middle schools, and like, I want no parts of that demographic. That's a hard demographic. Like they're super distracted. Their attention spans are short. You know what I'm saying? Like, high school kids is probably like as young as I can go, or as young as like, I think, an audience that could even appreciate what it is I do. So kudos to you for speaking to those kids, man, and loving on those kids, because I ain't got the patience. I ain't got the patience. So I would say, consider starting with Superphone. It's $10 a month. Sign up on that. Build that as kind of like your funnel. Then drop some merch. See how fast you can get that built up. And then kind of build into like a Patreon launch. Like, start teasing people that there's going to be a way coming for them to support you in a really cool way. And think through your perks. Think through your tiers. And then launch into it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought about Patreon for like a year before I actually did it. And honestly, I kind of let Belief go first and let him work out all the kinks. You know what I'm saying? So one of the things like we didn't do on this Patreon is we didn't do a $1 tier. We jumped right into a $5 tier. You know what I mean? So I could touch less people, but I could make the experience more quality, because Patreon it's growing. It's a really good growing revenue stream for us. You know what I mean? So we could then justify me staying here for 2 or 3 hours with you guys on Sunday nights, because it's a justifiable means of my time, right? But that $5 bottom tier, like, I knew that because somebody else went before me and suffered through the mess, you know. So I think, one, launch into that strategically. Don't just launch into that. And this is how you got to think about it. Yes, from one perspective, you should start as quickly as possible, just go. From another perspective, the longer you wait, the more people are going to become familiar with the platform. The easier it's going to be for you to say, oh, I got a Patreon. Oh, yeah, I support Belief on Patreon. I support Ruslan on Patreon. I support God Over Money on Patreon. I already support 3 or 4 different patrons. They're already acclimated to the system. and they could just they can transition to becoming your Patreon easier, right? So I was afraid, and I kind of had the scarcity mindset of like, oh, people aren't going to support me on Patreon if they're already supporting 3 or 4 other people on Patreon. That's a scarcity mindset. You want to have an abundance mindset. So I think have a strategy for how you're going to launch through it. You know, think through your tiers, think through what you're going to offer people, you know. And so, yeah, I think that would be the thing I would consider. But Superphone, I would say Superphone, start with Superphone, build your contacts on Superphone. In terms of how to make the, oh, shoot.